Back on Inside Tennessee with State Senator Becky, Duncan, Massey, and Representative Sam McKenzie. We appreciate your time on this Sunday morning. And Senator, you made the point there was an omnibus package and then some bills that were passed separately by the supermajority. And when our viewers hear me use that term, I say it because there are so many Republicans in the state Senate and so many Republicans in the state House that literally both have walkout majorities. Democrats wouldn't have to show up and Republicans could still do business, just to get that out of the way. Senator, let's talk about the partisan school board election bill, because a lot of people had questions about that. For instance, in Knox County, people run for the school board and they don't say, hey, I'm a D or I'm an R. Why is it important for them to be able to run and say, hey, I am a D or I'm an R or I'm something else?
Well, basically, this bill made it permissive based in the counties and by their parties there in the counties, whether they would like to have primary races that are partisan. But, you know, it's interesting. I've been in the legislature 10 years, and from the moment I arrived, I've had people here in Knox County advocating for the partisan school board races. They just have felt like that was an important for people to have more transparency, to just know where you don't know everything, but you do kind of have an idea of some basic core values. And I think that is, you know, I could argue both sides of the coin as far as a partisan school board race, but from my constituents, I've had more conversations supporting it in this 10 years time.
And Representative McKenzie, how about your constituents? Do they feel the same or differently?
As you can imagine, quite differently. Constituents, I think it's most people. We shouldn't have partisan conversation when it comes to the children of any elected office. The ones that shouldn't be partisan is school board. I mean, it really is. Whether you're conservative or liberal, whether you're moderate or whatever, people fully understand we need to have quality education. We need to have adequate facilities. And that's what we've done, especially here in Knox County. You know, folks know your political leanings by answering the questions. But all this is just going to be, it's going to be an unfair tax on those folks. And now they're going to have to go to all the Republican dinners, all the Democratic dinners, all of these things when they really should be focusing on our children's education. This is unneeded. It's permissive, which means theoretically in Knox County, one party could say we want to have partisan races, and the other party say we don't want to have partisan races. And now you're just totally confused the whole community on what exactly are we voting for. Are we voting because someone wants to build new schools or have new programs? Are we voting just party lines, but there's only one party there? So it is permissive by party. Again, another hastily put together bill, which wasn't that way when it was first introduced. But as the week went on, they kind of called themselves watering it down. But I really think we just introduced a lot more confusion to the equation.
As you said, Senator, you could argue both sides of this. You see both. You're listening to your constituents. But people are going to want to know in Knox County for the next school board election, how will it work? Have you had any conversations with local leadership about how we may see that play out literally on paper at the ballot?
I haven't since it's passed. No, I haven't.
And do you think those are conversations people will have sooner rather than later now?
Correct. I think the discussions are going on. I have not personally had conversations since we finished the special session.
You also talked about some other bills that passed, and one including the health department, which got some criticism about removing local control. I imagine you don't think that's a fair characterization of it from some Democrats, but what was the reason behind that bill?
Okay, and I actually sponsored that. The lieutenant governor was the main sponsor, and then I was the one that carried that bill. Basically, last year during session, a bill passed that gave a little more clarity to the health director in the county, and in some of the operations, but there was still some things that needed to be cleared up on that. But the main part of my bill that I passed was that if we are ever in a pandemic, again, it can be the COVID, it could be whatever, hopefully not for 100 more years, but in a pandemic that's either declared by the World Health Organization or the CDC, and then at that point, the governor, if it's significantly affecting our state, the governor would declare that we're in the pandemic in Tennessee. At that point, all the counties would be ultimately under the authority of the governor, whoever that governor might be. And that's really the way it is in most states. The governor takes the advisement of the health department, the commissioner of health, the hospitals, the businesses, the education, the legislature, but the governor actually makes the final decision. And it was really confusing to the 6 counties that were coming out with separate decisions when a year ago, when a lot of the lockdowns and this was doing it and this county wasn't. It's like in Knox County, we could only have gatherings at 10, but you could go 3 miles down the road and have a wedding in Union County with 100 people. They, at one point, a couple of the 6 counties had tighter restrictions, but they were having more cases in Williamson County and in some of the surrounding counties around Nashville. So that was really the key point of that piece of legislation. It doesn't prohibit a governor from saying, okay, the hot spot is in Middle Tennessee, so we're things different in Middle Tennessee. So they could use some triggers, some regional triggers, but it helps to have one voice making the decisions. And, it basically says the buck stops there. And I just felt like that was, that was important for clarity and transparency in the state. The rest of it just kind of cleared up what we did last year as far as the health director and how the appointing authority goes, because that was not clear, and the interaction between the mayor and the county director and the health board. But most of that, like I say, was passed last session.
Representative McKenzie, quickly, your thoughts on that legislation in particular.
Again, it's taking the control out of the people who best know. There's a big difference between Union County or Hawkins County and Knox County. We are a lot more concentrated. The issues were different from county to county. So in our urban counties, those 6 urban areas that have health departments, we gave them some autonomy. Now we've taken that away. So we're just like Union or Bradley County when we're really not. We're starkly different. And if you look at the numbers went up, but we did a great job here in Knox County. Dr. Buchanan did an outstanding job managing Knox County. The next one hopefully will be in 100 years. That next person is going to have to listen to the governor, who may be a business owner, or who knows what he or she is going to be and where their expertise is. Why not leave it to the experts?
All right, we're going to come back and talk about the next legislative session. Senator, we'll let you make that point right after the break.